Welcome to Fundamentals of Computer Hardware and Software, presentation number 2, our lecturer, Dr. Ricardo Neal. This presentation was done by Group 6, Kymisha Lewis, Zadarni Bells, Patrina Perreira, and Daniel Thompson. We'll start off today with the recap from our previous video on outcomes 1 to 4. Outcome 1, we learned that there are 4 main components of any computer system. These are input, processing, storage, and output. We then went on to outcome 2, where we learned that a personal computer takes data that is input by the user, processes it in the CPU, and stores the information. This information is then displayed in human-readable form. We then went on to outcome 3, where we learned that there are 2 types of softwares, application software and system software. Application software are computer programs that are built to achieve a single goal, while system software includes utility software and operating systems. Utility software are software that help the operating system to complete tasks, while operating systems control all interactions between the user, hardware, and other software. Finally, in outcome 4, we learned that there are 6 steps on how to configure and install software and operating systems. First, set up the display environment. Erase the primary boot disk. Set up the BIOS. Install the operating system. Configure your server for RAID. And finally, install the operating system, update drivers, and run updates. Now for today's outcomes. Number 5. Install utility software and describe how it is used to manage the security of a computer system. Utility software. Utility software performs tasks that includes antivirus protection, disk defragmentation, installation or uninstallation, file deletion, and backing up of files. Let's talk about utility software and security. Antivirus software. These provide protection from threats, browser hijackers, keyloggers, and viruses. Popular antivirus softwares are Norton, AVG Antivirus, and McAfee. Disk cleaners. This helps with finding and deleting potentially unwanted or unnecessary files. Cryptographic utilities. These encrypt or decrypt data, therefore making it harder for malicious influences to get into your data. We also have user accounts. It secures files and programs by giving access only to authorized users. Finally, we have backup softwares. These create copies of your data and allows restoration of copies in the case that your data may be accidentally removed. Let's move on to outcome 6. Describe the structure of different softwares and operating systems. The operating system. The operating system is a framework that enables user application programs to communicate with the system hardware. The operating system in a device has 4 main functions: providing a user interface, managing files, managing applications, and managing hardware. A system call is the main way the user program interacts with the operating system. How an operating system is put together. Simple structure. Many operating systems have a rather straightforward structure. These began as modest systems that quickly grew well beyond their original scope. Microsoft DOS is a good illustration of this. Here we can see an example of a simple structure that was used in Microsoft DOS. The layered structure. The layered method is one technique to establish modularity in the operating system. The hardware is on the bottom layer, while the user interface is on the top. Here is an example of a layered structure used in Windows 2000. Here is another example of a layered structure used in Unix. The modularity in the layered structure leads to greater control over the computer system and its various applications. One problem with the layered structure is that each layer needs to be carefully defined. This is necessary because the upper layers can only use the functionalities of the layers below them. Let's continue with Outcome 7. Describe the system unit components, registry, CMOS, and BIOS. The system unit, a standard desktop computer, is made up of a computer system unit, a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor. The computer system unit is the exterior shell that protects all of the computer's major internal components. It's also known as a computer case or computer tower. System units comes in a variety of sizes and shapes. The motherboard. The primary circuit board of a microcomputer is known as the motherboard. The CPU, BIOS, RAM, mass storage interfaces, serial and parallel ports, and expansion slots are often found on the motherboard. Registers. Registers are a sort of computer memory that allows the CPU to take, store, and send data and instructions that are needed right away. There are various types of registers that are used for various purposes. Examples are accumulators, data registers, address registers, program counters, memory data registers, index register, and memory buffer register. CMOS. Some RAM chips, flash memory chips, and other chips use complementary metal oxide semiconductors (CMOS) technology because it provides high speeds and consumes little power. It is one of the most popular technology in the computer chip design industry, and it is broadly used today to form integrated circuits in numerous and varied applications. The BIOS. BIOS stands for Basic Input-Output System, and it is a software stored on a small memory chip on the motherboard. It is the very first software to run when a computer is started. It also manages flow of data between the computer operating system and attached devices such as the hard disk, video adapter, keyboard, mouse, and printer. Now for our final outcome. Explain the role of the central processing unit, monitor, and keyboard and mouse in the functions of the computer system. The central processing unit. A computer's central processing unit is a piece of hardware that executes the instructions of the computer's software. It conducts a computer's basic arithmetic, logic, and input or output operations. A modern CPU is typically compact and square with a variety of short, rounded metallic connections underneath. Some popular examples of CPUs are Intel Core and AMD. The main role of the CPU is to 1. Fetch, 2. Decode, 3. Execute, and 4. Store. The monitor. The monitor is also known as the video display terminal or unit. This output device works with a video card located inside the computer case to display images and text on the keyboard. One of the most common methods to connect with a computer is through the keyboard. It is an input device that may be used to type documents, play games, perform functions assigned to the shortcut keys, and complete other duties. There are many different types of keyboards, but most are very similar and allow you to accomplish the same basic task. Some common types are multimedia keyboard, wireless keyboard, and ergonomic keyboard. The mouse. The mouse is another important tool for communicating with computers. It is also known as a pointing device that allows you to point to things on the screen, click on them, and move them around.